Have you ever studied hard for weeks or months, but then completely forgot everything on the exam? Or read an entire book from cover to cover and remembered almost nothing? The good news is you're not lazy and you're not broken. You're just using learning strategies that science has proven don't work very well. For example, rereading, highlighting, and focusing on one single topic for hours. These are all common habits that prevent deep learning. But don't worry, because today, I am going to share with you 15 science-backed learning strategies that will completely change how you learn, and also help you remember what really matters. Now let's get started with the big myth: rereading is the best way to study. Imagine two students trying to get in biology class, both study for the final exam. One student spends an hour rereading and highlighting their notes. The other student spends an hour making flashcards and testing themselves. The day of the exam arrives and both students take the test. Who do you think performed better? The answer is the student who spent time actively retrieving information through self-testing. And that's exactly why rereading is not the best way to study. Because real learning happens when you pull knowledge out of your brain, not just recognize it on a page. In fact, there's a scientific term for this called retrieval practice, and scientists call it the testing effect. Every time you retrieve something from your brain, it strengthens your memory. Just like lifting weights for your brain. So here's how to apply this to any subject you want to learn. After you read a chapter, close the book and write down the main ideas from memory. Then compare your notes to the actual book and identify what you missed. This practice forces your brain to retrieve information, which reinforces the neural connections associated with that knowledge. And the more you test yourself, the stronger those connections become. But testing once isn't enough to make knowledge stick. To truly solidify what you've learned, you have to revisit and review the material several times over a period of days, weeks, and even months. And that's where strategy comes in. Space it out, don't cram it in. Think of learning like watering a garden. If you pour all the water at once, the soil can't absorb it. But if you water a little every day, your plants grow strong. Same with your brain. Spaced repetition helps your brain retain information far better than cramming. So instead of studying for 5 hours straight, spread it into 5 one-hour sessions across the week. Trust me, your retention will skyrocket and you'll feel less exhausted. Strategy 3. Mix it up to master it. Would you get good at basketball by only practicing dribbling and ignoring shots and passes? Of course not. Same with learning. Mixing topics or problem types forces your brain to figure out which strategy to use, like a detective solving different cases. Yes, it feels harder, but that means it's working deeper. So next time you study, switch between subjects, try math, then reading, then math again. It might feel confusing at first, but you'll remember more when it actually matters. Strategy number 4. Embrace the struggle. Learning should feel hard sometimes. If it's too easy, you're probably just going through the motions. Scientists call this desirable difficulties. Challenges like self-testing, spacing, and mixing topics force your brain to work harder and remember better. So if studying feels easy, challenge yourself more. Ask questions, explain concepts, fight through the confusion. That mental sweat means you're building real learning. Strategy 5. Teach it to understand it. Albert Einstein once said, "If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. So try explaining what you're learning to a friend or even to a 9-year-old." By doing this, you'll discover what you truly understand and what you need to review. So summarize, use your own words, make it simple. Because true learning isn't about memorizing facts, it's about connecting ideas. Strategy 6. Use all your senses. Forget learning styles. You're not just a visual or auditory learner. Use images, sounds, movement. Mix it up. When the format matches the content, you learn faster. Want to learn geography? Look at maps. Want to understand poetry? Listen to the rhythm. Don't limit yourself. Use your whole brain. Strategy 7. Beat the illusion of knowing. Familiarity tricks your brain into thinking you know something. But knowing equals being able to recall, not just recognize. Try this. Close the book and explain the concept. If you get stuck, great. Now you know where to focus. Strategy 8. Growth mindset equals real progress. Believe your brain can grow because it can. Every time you learn deeply, your brain changes. Replace "I can't do this" with "I can't do this yet." Accept challenges. Keep going. You'll look back and be amazed at how far you've come. Strategy 9. Make mistakes on purpose. Guess before you know the answer. Even if you're wrong, you'll remember the right one better. Why failed attempts create mental hooks, and your brain remembers what it struggles with. So before you read a chapter, ask yourself, what do I already know? What do I think the answer is? Then check. You'll learn faster and remember longer. Strategy number 10. See the big picture. Memorizing facts won't help if you don't understand how they connect. Imagine playing chess without knowing how the pieces move together. You need the full picture. So when you study, don't just memorize code or formulas. Understand how they work together and build real mastery. Strategy 11. Build habits, not talent. Learning is a skill. Not everyone is born good at it, but anyone can become great at it. Use retrieval. Space your learning. Reflect on what works. Top students don't study more, they study smarter. Strategy 12. Forget motivation. Build a system. Motivation fades, systems last. Create routines. Read flashcards at the same time every day. Set reminders. Make learning automatic, like brushing your teeth. The best learners aren't inspired, they're consistent. Strategy 13. Reflect to improve. After every lesson or project, ask, what worked? What could I improve? A neurosurgeon reflects after every surgery. So should you after every study session? Self-reflection turns mistakes into progress. Strategy number 14. Be patient. In a famous experiment, kids were given a marshmallow. Those who waited grew up to be more successful. Why? Delayed gratification builds discipline. Real learning takes thousands of focused hours. Patience is your superpower. And finally, strategy number 15. Don't fear failure. Fear of failure lowers performance. Anxious thoughts block your working memory. Instead of avoiding mistakes, embrace them, learn from them, grow from them. Because the truth is, your brain believes what it repeats. Your identity changes with what you repeat daily. Your life follows your inner programming. So stop waiting for motivation and start today. Write down your goal. Read it aloud twice a day. Feel it as if it's already real. And trust me, after 90 days, you won't be the same person. By the way, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell and leave a comment. What habit are you starting today to change your life in 90 days?